We're at Eurosatory 2018 and I'm speaking with Wyn Trin, Vice President International Operations, and Regis Luther, Vice President Engineering of AM General. We're standing beside AM General's NXT 360, a vehicle that's being shown publicly for the first time at the show. Wyn, NXT 360 to the average person looks like another reinvention of the Humvee. Is it? And if it is, why another reinvention?
Well, Shaun, first of all, it's what we've done with the NXT 360. We've taken a proven Humvee platform, which we've produced and sold in over 70 countries, and we've evolved it into the NXT 360. And what we did over the last 18 to 24 months, we sat down with all our key customers internationally around the world and asked them, what are the needs that you're looking for from us to improve and evolve your current Humvee fleet? So there were three things that they came back to us with. They needed better mobility, they needed better payload, and they needed also better overall protection to the current standard production Humvee. So what we did based on that, the internal team looked at those three needs and also kept in mind strategic mobility, because a lot of the customers said, listen, Wyn, what AM General needs to keep in mind is to keep the same footprint of the current Humvee for transportability. If it's CH-47, C-130, or C-5 fixed wing. So what we then did with our engineering team is improve the mobility, added heavy suspension system for better mobility, increased payload, and we went from a B6 to a B7 360-degree protection package, which Regis will talk about.
And Regis, from an engineering perspective, perhaps from the top down, could you talk us through some of the things that you have done to the vehicle to improve it in the areas that Wyn has outlined?
Sure, Shaun. So we've divided the improvements into 5 areas. So starting with the first area, which is survivability, which is key to our customers, is we raised the protection level to a consistent 360-degree B7 protection level. Next, we raised the underwheel blast to the front wheel to 2B, and the underbody and rear wheel blast to in excess of 1A. So combined together, we raised the survivability uniformly around the vehicle. Next, we upgraded the power. We raised the engine horsepower to 250 horsepower, and we also added a 6-speed transmission. The 6-speed transmission improves fuel economy, lowers the interior noise level, and raises the top speed. On the suspension, we improve ride quality by increasing suspension travel by 40%, and then we raised the gross vehicle weight rating of the vehicle to 15,500 pounds. Now, combined with all that, we made, as obvious, several styling improvements on the Humvee, but really we leveraged the proven architecture of the Humvee and made the improvements in those areas.
And I'm guessing, you've increased the power, the transmission has been revised and so on, but they are evolutions of the standard Humvee components?
That's true. Every area we've discussed, we made an improvement in that area. The basic architecture of the Humvee you see here at the show is the same, it's just a better version in all areas.
And the improvements you have made to this vehicle, is it something that's only available as a new build, or is this a kit, a package that can be retrofitted to current Humvees?
So, Shaun, good question. The improvements are all retrofittable since we leveraged the current architecture of the Humvee. For example, taking the transmission from 4-speed with overdrive to 6-speed with overdrive is in the same housing. So the transmission is a swap, direct replacement. The 40% increase in suspension travel and the larger tires on the vehicle are also retrofittable. Those will be combined with the 4-inch body lift we put on this vehicle. So the retrofits would be appropriate to a new vehicle and also available separately or in some cases combined together to the existing fleet.
And the engine is AM General's 6.5 litre V8. What have you done to that to get it up from, is it 190 horsepower to 250 horsepower?
Right. So in that case, we raised the fuel pressure, we raised the capacity of the turbocharger, we made refinements throughout all the parts of the engine that carry the load, raised the peak cylinder pressure. We also added improvement to the underbody between the oil pan and the under part of the block, and an aftercooler. So combined together, we revised the engine, which we build at our assembly line in Ohio, to the higher horsepower.
And with those modifications, is the engine emissions compliant if the user wishes it?
The engine is available in Euro 3 dress if the user desires.
One of the obvious visual changes between the NXT 360 and a standard Humvee are the wheels and tyres. Could you talk us through the differences between the standard Humvee and the NXT 360s?
Sure, Shaun. So the NXT uses the 335 series tire, which raises the diameter by 6 inches. That improves ride quality and mobility, and then in addition to this vehicle, we added central tire inflation system with dual compressors, so you can achieve the desired mud, sand, and snow pressures in a quicker time.
And run flat inserts are optional or standard?
They're standard. They're on the vehicle we have here in the show.
Excellent.